Hello, this is another Peripheral era devlog. This is the third one that I've done about the UI, and this is basically the polishing of all of it and kind of bug fixing, bringing the creative vision to where it needs to be for the final product and for the playtest we have coming up. Um, so mainly, uh, I've changed the debug menu to a pause menu. I've like visually reworked the win and loss screen to have a lot more personality and fit in line with the kind of like old computer um aesthetic that the main screen goes for. Um and I've been messing with a lot of like time commands and like audio muting and stuff in code to just make sure that's not buggy. Um, because even though the UI was functional before, there was definitely a lot of persisting bugs that I really wasn't happy with. So it's just trying to get it to that professional level. Um, Working off of the playtest feedback and jumping into Engine to show it in practice. The main piece of feedback I got during the playtest about the UI was that people kept forgetting how many collectibles they had. And me and Caden immediately started talking about this, and we were like, well, how can we fix this? We can definitely show this visually with some UI. So now when you hold tab, it shows you how many collectibles you've got. If I run over and collect one now, it will update the out of 7 there, and it will show for all of them. Just to demo the UI, the rest of the UI quickly. Here's the pause menu. It's got some just like fun little flavor text here, linked to the story of the game where it's talking about the virus and antivirus and stuff. And all of these buttons do work down here, but for now I'm going to up the player's speed a bit so I can show you the win screen and the loss screen. Uh, so continue. Now I'm just going to blitz across the entire map. It is a big guilty pleasure doing this because it's really funny to be in a horror game moving at Mark 10. But Rackus has been the getting the lose to trigger from Rackus has been quite easy. It was just reworking it when I had it on the box before and putting it on him himself. I think I've got an empty trigger. There it says go to the firewall because we had no prior indication of that. This is a placeholder at the moment, it doesn't look great, but I'll be doing some visual effects and I've thought about maybe even adding like an arrow that points you towards the wall. Because people might not be able to recognize what it is, even though it would be ideal if they could. But it's just making sure it's definitely understandable because it would be really, really, I think upsetting for a player if they went through all the effort to get all the collectibles and then didn't know where to go. So I'll show you the game win right now. Here's the firewall itself. I just made an emissive material just to really draw attention to it and give that kind of fire look. And similar to the pause menu, which is themed like this, the win menu is very similar. It's worked off of the same base, but its program is hacked, which again links to the kind of story of the game, and then just some nice little text for the player saying that player coolness is definitely true, and telling them congratulations for completing the playtest. Obviously, this text will be getting changed in the final game, but it's fun for now. I think it's nice. And then going in, restarting, and bumping the speed up again, I can show you the Radicus kill UI, which is the one that I'm most proud of. The death UI is like really fun and aesthetic, and I took a lot of inspiration from old blue screen errors. I'll show you in a sec. There we go. I took a lot of inspiration from the blue screen of death kind of pop up, and the font itself is actually the old Windows 95 font that I managed to find online. Obviously, it's not the exact one, but it's a modern revival of it, made by this person on GitHub. Um, and I just downloaded that, transferred it to a TTF file, and then put it in the engine using Unity's text mesh pro tools, which is just down here, and then you can just do font asset creator, drop the font in there. It all works perfect. Just like really, it's been so fun realizing the kind of vision and moving away from those basic assets. I'm really happy with how visually everything looks now. As far as functionality goes, um, oh yeah, and there's the controls menu, which this is a placeholder right now, that I'm using for the playtest, but in future that will also have a lot more depth to it. I'm planning on probably adding configurable settings and like a nicer looking controls menu to fall in line with the rest of the aesthetic. Um, the big thing that I've done is the code on the collectible menu and then working with the pause menu, making it pause properly. Um, as far as the collectible side of things goes, um, added to the score text is this added to the score script is this score text here, which is immediately set to out of 7, which will show the blank 0 out of 7 um, on the collectible pop-up itself. Down here in the score increase, it'll update it at the end of it, so score gets increased and then it goes to say 1 out of 7 or 3 out of 7 or like 5 out of 7. And then when it gets full, when it hits this trigger to set the win to true, it also sets the score text to go to the firewall. Like I said, I'll be probably reworking that in future, but it serves its purpose for now. And then for the pause things, I add a lot more issues. Working with time in Unity, I always find to be quite dangerous because things just stop working. But I did manage to get it sorted in the end. Here are the all of the pause things here. I've got them all lined up. So I'm using two smaller um, methods called pause and unpause. Oh, pause and unpause. These both set the time scale, the cursor lock mode, and the audio listener, which mutes it. And then also on the pause one, you have to put cursor visible to true, as well as turning off the cursor lock mode, just because otherwise that doesn't show at all, but it does it automatically here. And then I've just referenced these methods in the continue button script and in the pause UI trigger. The pause UI trigger has just been put in the player movement script because it needs to be on something that's active basically all the time. And then it just sets pause UI to active. All just really simple stuff, really. Um, as I said, I was struggling with this because whenever you would click continue, the game would freeze. And a lot of the time, when you would reset the scene, things would freeze. But going up here, I mainly just fixed that by setting the time scale to automatically be 1 when the scene is loaded and messing around with the time scale a bit here after consulting with Chris a bit. Um, Generally, that was the only issues I faced. Um, oh, and I changed the restart from using this kind of setup where it was load scene and then named. Main menu still needs to be still needs to do that, or still should do that. But restart and things like that, that currently uses get active scene because I find that it's a more robust way to have it set up, and it makes it less it means that I can alter how the scenes are loaded through the build settings here, which I find significantly easier than messing around in scripts. And it also makes it more accessible to anyone who hasn't worked on the UI script themselves, because then they can just go here, build settings, drag this around. Suddenly it now does the game before the intro level. Things like that just make it all that more efficient and a bit more robust and just cleaner. Because even though on the front end a lot of this UI push has been getting things to a professional level, I still want the back end to be clean and professional. I don't want it to be held together with gum and tape. So to be honest, um, this is the proudest work I've probably done in this project. I'm really happy with how all of these have come out. I mean, I'm not going to be biased, but I think the old computer look just comes across really well, and it's really fun. Um, and it's just quite clean through this, with the aesthetic. There are some things that I want to do as far as the VFX department goes, because currently switching between menus, is very snappy, and you can see the scene loading, and I feel like that's the only thing holding it back from looking very professional. So before the expo, on the 12th, I'll likely do some basic VFX, like I think we have plans for a static fade in from either side of the screen, and then even some cinematic things that I might get sorted with Elias. That's basically all of it for UI3. I think the only things I have left to do is that intro scene I have planned, so yeah, it should all be good. Thank you for your time.